hitting a motherlode of hard drugs.
What we're talking about is somebody who's moving enough fentanyl to at least theoretically kill all of King County.
Why this drug trafficker was just handed a sentence that's only 1/3 of what prosecutors wanted. The cold case mystery of a vibrant young woman who vanished.
There's always that empty hole in your heart.
How her mother's agony has been amplified by a strong suspicion of where the answers are locked away. A tunnel of destruction as a car plows all the way through a home.
So this was the dining room right here, and there was a wall just right there.
The damage didn't stop there, and we're learning what charges the driver's facing. Tonight in the Spotlight.
The Spotlight brought to you by Beacon Plumbing.
Good evening and welcome to the Spotlight, and thank you for joining us. I'm David Rose, and we begin tonight with the search for a major drug trafficking fugitive. Take a look. Valentin Garcia Lescano has a felony warrant for his arrest for 4 counts of dealing fentanyl, heroin, meth, and cocaine, worth almost $3 million. King County Sheriff's detectives say he was running a crew selling the drugs all over King and Pierce County, then having the money wired back to Mexico. Deputies caught him red-handed hauling bags of drugs out of a storage unit. Valentin bailed out of jail 2 months after he was arrested and is now on the run. His 2 other co-defendants have both been convicted, including Miguel Hernandez Domingo, the man he was arrested with. Miguel has spent the last year in jail. He was recently sentenced after pleading guilty, and our Spotlight camera was there in the courtroom. As we focus on the jaw-dropping lack of accountability and slap-on-the-wrist justice handed down, because it appears by the lack of action that the Democratic majority in the Washington legislature is not taking the deadly fentanyl crisis seriously.
Miguel Hernandez Domingo was one of 3 men arrested in 2024 following a lengthy drug trafficking investigation by the King County Sheriff's Office.
Mr. Hernandez Domingo had enough fentanyl powder to be potentially lethal to more than 13.5 million people. The combined population of the Pacific Northwest is 14.2 million people.
Senior Deputy Prosecutor Alex Muir described the huge amount of narcotics seized by detectives from the defendant's apartment, car, and storage unit, where he took selfies wearing a respirator.
There's approximately 108,204 fentanyl pills by weight, 59.87 pounds of fentanyl powder, 2.47 pounds of methamphetamine, 3.16 pounds of heroin, 1.79 pounds of cocaine. The street value of these narcotics is approximately $2.75 million.
Hernandez Domingo was tracked and observed selling the drugs in Des Moines, Seattle, SeaTac, Federal Way, Fife, and Tacoma, then wiring the money to Mexico. He pleaded guilty to possession with intent to distribute fentanyl with a major drug offense aggravator. Because he had no criminal history and a 0 offender score, Washington state law sets the standard sentencing range at just 12 to 20 months. King County Prosecuting Attorney Lisa Mannion wants longer sentences imposed, at least 5 years in prison in this case.
We're not talking about a kid with a bag full of weed. What we're talking about is somebody who's moving enough fentanyl to at least theoretically kill all of King County. And for that, there should be an exceptional sentence because it's an exceptional amount of drugs.
To support their request for a longer sentence, King County Detective Matt Jeffrey described the significance of this drug bust.
To my knowledge, the 60 pounds of fentanyl powder is the largest seizure of the King County Sheriff's Office.
So far this year in King County alone, more than 360 people have already died from a fentanyl overdose.
I would just appreciate the consideration of lives lost, families broken due to this fentanyl epidemic that's currently that we're experiencing.
The defendant's attorney pushed back, claiming his client played a limited role in the organization and had already spent 368 days in jail.
And essentially had no gain in this operation. Other than $400 a week, he's essentially had to trade a year of his life for that.
Hernandez Domingo claimed he didn't understand the consequences of his actions.
Washington.
I want to apologize to the state of Washington.
Está enferma mi esposa y amigo.
And I want to be given the opportunity for me to go on with my life and to help my mother, who is sick, and my wife and my son.
After listening to the arguments from both sides, Judge Nicole Hecklinger sided with the defense, saying the court had no information that Hernandez Domingo was a major player in the enterprise.
Having considered the purposes of the Sentencing Reform Act, the sentencing materials, the harm that this does to the community, and Mr. Hernandez's role in this, in the information that's been provided, the court will sentence Mr. Hernandez to 20 months, which is the high end of the presumptive standard range.
Prosecutors say they are undeterred and will continue to ask for exceptional sentences, saying 12 to 20 months sends the wrong message and change is needed by the legislature to toughen penalties for large amounts of fentanyl.
What drug traffickers will do is put up somebody who has no history, who can get 12 to 20 months and not get an exceptional sentence, and move enough fentanyl to at least theoretically kill all of King County. And we don't want that moving into our county.
Just as I was putting this story together, King County prosecutors got another case from Detective Jeffrey. This time he arrested a suspect with 63 pounds of fentanyl, described as a bulk supplier to drug couriers in Seattle. His name is Jose Perez Baldovino. The 35-year-old will be arraigned next month, and we will be there. Meanwhile, if you can tell detectives where to find 38-year-old Valentin Garcia Lascano, Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound will pay you a cash reward of up to $1,000. You will remain anonymous. Text the tip through the P3 Tips app on your phone or call 1-800-222-TIPS. A day of work almost turned deadly for a rideshare driver after he was attacked at an IHOP parking lot in Everett. Family members say he stopped at the restaurant for dinner and had just signed back on for work when he was jumped and carjacked. As the Spotlight's Jennifer Dowling reports, it didn't take police long to find the suspect and make an arrest.
There was witnesses at IHOP, and they were the ones to call 911.
Family members say Dad Yuri Vakolchik always stops at this IHOP near Payne Field while waiting to pick up his Lyft and Uber passengers.
He wanted pancakes.
His son didn't want to appear fully on camera, but tells us family members knew Yuri's job had dangers. But that night he encountered a threat no one expected.
I was not expecting it just to be a random attack.
A stranger surprised Yuri in this IHOP parking lot, putting a knife to his throat, giving him no time to react.
He came up from behind him and wrapped his arms around him and said, "You're dead, you're dead, you're dead," and then slit his throat.
His son says the man cut Yuri's neck shoulder to shoulder as he tried to fight back.
My dad turned around and started swinging at him, and then the guy just started slashing at his face and his head.
His son says witnesses in IHOP called 911 and Everett police pulled up as the man fled, driving over the lip of the parking lot and through the bushes, dropping around 6 feet to the street below.
The suspect jumped in my dad's running vehicle and just went over the barricade, down the bushes, onto Evermall Way, and ran down south.
Police caught him a few miles away near the Costco off of 99 in Linwood and arrested him. Yuri's son says his dad was hospitalized with at least 8 painful cuts.
It was all the way up and around the chest and then all over his head.
He may also need surgery to save his eyesight. Yuri's family created this online fundraiser to help him recover following the devastating attack.
Every single penny helps, not just money, prayers, support, anyway. It's all amazing.
For the Spotlight, I'm Jennifer Dowling.
Well, the suspect was booked into the Snohomish County Jail for robbery and assault. And if you'd like to donate to the family's fundraiser, you can find a link in the online version of this story. Go to our website, fox13seattle.com. Body cam video captured some swift work in Pierce County as deputies investigated a shooting. They were called to the Parkwood Apartments in Parkland in the early morning hours of May 24th. Here's the moment they found the victim.
Right here, please help me.
Okay, where you hit? Get fired going this way.
That 35-year-old victim was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Deputies learned the suspect had threatened to kill the victim shortly before the shooting. Within minutes, deputies had the suspect in their sights.
Hands up.
I got hands.
Deputies say they found the gun used in the shooting laying in the grass not far from where the suspect was spotted. He was booked on charges of felony harassment and first-degree assault. Well, it's a stunning amount of damage in the aftermath of a car crash in Burien. A car plowed all the way through a home, then hit another house. This happened on Memorial Day along South 120th Street near Military Road. A crowd of neighbors gathered for the spectacle as the car was removed from the crash scene with a crane dangling in the air like a piñata. We've now learned the driver of that car, Gerardo Castro, is being charged with DUI and reckless driving. But those are just gross misdemeanors. He was released from jail the very next day. The Spotlight's A.J. Janabel spoke with the people who live in those damaged homes where the car flew through a total of 6 walls.
All of a sudden, boom.
Oh my gosh.
And my girlfriend screamed.
If we could just go to the sidewalk, please.
Sounds pretty bad.
I saw the car hanging from the second house.
Just complete devastation.
Very sad.
That scared the crap out of everybody.
A shocking sight on Memorial Day. Neighbors standing on the street, left with questions as to how this could happen.
He just came to see what's going on.
And emotions.
I'm still shaking, angry.
Joseph Wynn, his girlfriend, and Wynn's parents are lucky to be alive. They were all inside their home when, like a missile, this sedan blew through their wall.
Don't know why that person hit our house.
From Wynn's backyard, you can see the destruction caused to his family's house and his neighbor's home.
So this was the dining room right here, you know, and there was a wall just right there.
Mark Kolash showed us the devastation from inside. He tells me he was at work and his wife and son were not here when the driver came flying through 5 walls of his house.
Remember you told me call the insurance stuff? I forgot it's a holiday. There's no way picking up the phone.
Miraculously, no one was hurt, but this traumatic afternoon has left a literal hole in their lives.
Very exhausted. All that energy. Yeah. It's really tired.
We have friends and family that we can stay with, you know, so we'll figure that out.
For the Spotlight, I'm A.J. Janavel.
It's not known yet how fast the car was going when the crash happened. The speed limit along that street is just 35 miles an hour, but neighbors say people are constantly speeding through the area. Well, there's now a larger reward in a missing persons case we've been following here on the Spotlight. Jonathan Wong is on the autism spectrum. He has been missing since March 30th. He disappeared from his Arlington home around 7:30 that night. Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound is now offering $10,000 for any information that helps find Jonathan. If you have a tip and it can lead to finding out where he is or what happened to him, please submit that information to Crime Stoppers through the P3 Tips app. If you see him, call 911. It's now been 30 years since a Linwood woman vanished. 3 painful decades for loved ones wondering what happened to Tracy Brazzle. Detectives do believe she was killed, but her body has never been found. The Spotlight Shira Matsuzawa spoke with Tracy's mother, who's still holding on to hope that her daughter will be located.
As these cars pass the Keeler's corner apartments, it appears to be just another day. But 30 years ago, 22-year-old Tracy Brazzle lived in these Linwood apartments, and it was one of the last places she was seen alive.
It's hard. I live on memories.
Investigators believe Tracy disappeared somewhere between where she lived and a bar that once stood in this area in Everett, just about 10 miles away. She's believed to be dead, but her body has never been found.
There's always that empty hole in your heart.
Tracy's mom, Peggy Brady, wonders what life would be like if she were still here.
If she'd be married, if I'd have grandkids, what they would be like.
For years, the investigation into her disappearance went cold. Until 2012, when the Snohomish County Sheriff's Office arrested Danny Ross Giles in connection with the 1995 murders of Tracy and Patty Berry. Giles' DNA was reportedly found in both of the women's cars. They convicted Giles in Patty's case, but severed Tracy's because they couldn't find her body and didn't want to jeopardize the other case. But Peggy believes he's behind Tracy's disappearance.
Even though he's in prison, he just won't give up, where she is or say anything about her.
In 2010, Peggy's oldest daughter also passed away. Despite so much loss, Peggy remains hopeful 30 years later.
I'm hopeful that he'll finally give it up. I'm just hoping he'll do it before I'm gone. I'd like to put my daughter to rest. I'd like to put her with her sister.
For the Spotlight, I'm Shira Matsuzawa.
Peggy says the only thing she can do is hope and pray that if anyone knows where Tracy might be, they'll come forward. If you have information, please contact the Snohomish County Sheriff's Office. It's been almost a year since someone shot and killed a 16-year-old boy in Auburn, and there are still no answers as to who's responsible. The family of Xavier Landry has now increased the cash reward for information in the case. Back on July 12, 2024, Xavier and 2 other teens were shot near a gas station. The other 2 teens survived. We spoke with Xavier's mom, who has this message for whoever killed her son.
I want to be able to forgive you, so I hope you're remorseful. You took somebody that meant a lot to me and the world, So please just come forward. I am willing to change the narrative. I don't want to be mad and I don't want to be angry. I want to be able to forgive.
Well, her donation to Crime Stoppers has raised the reward from $1,000 to $4,000. You will remain anonymous. You can submit a tip using the P3 Tips app or call 1-800-222-TIPS. A 4-star hotel in Seattle is taking a next-door nuisance property to court. A complaint filed in U.S. District Court claims the vacant Fred Rogers building is a crime hotspot, overrun with homeless people. Not only is the building covered in graffiti, the Astro Hotel says squatters are starting fires, using drugs, and attracting violence to the area. As the Spotlight's Lauren Donovan reports, the hotel is now seeking millions of dollars in damages.
Seattle's got a vacant building problem, no question about it. Downtown is dealing with record-high empty office spaces.
We think it's also important to avoid long periods of vacancy in structures.
Squatters enter these unoccupied places, and sometimes they go up in flames. Within the last year, Mayor Harrell signed legislation cracking down on negligent property owners.
In some ways, I think the city is doing everything it can.
Action's been taken, but still, a battle is brewing over in South Lake Union over one such property. One cited by the city for problems again and again. This complaint, filed in federal court, shows the Astro Hotel is calling for millions of dollars in damages, claiming the owners of the Fred Rogers building have been complacent, not doing enough to put a stop to the problem. Allegedly, trespassers are now frequent, only increasing the amount of debris, damage, and dilapidation to this derelict building. Writing guests at the hotel have continuously complained about witnessing people bathing on the roof, people doing drugs and lewd acts, all within view of their rooms. Photos snapped within the Rogers building give us a better idea of the mess we can't see from the street. Other images filed in court show there were tents on it at one point. Thursday, when we visited the intersection of Terry and Thomas, we didn't see anything like that. And it looks like the place is better secured, broken windows repaired, entry points patched, some graffiti covered, but still, the dispute persists. In court, the attorney representing the Fred Rogers building argued this is all about aesthetics, telling the judge, sure, there's a lot of pictures that make the place look unappealing, but there's no evidence that guests left or were compensated because of it. Pledging they're in active talks with the city right now to resolve any issues. Reporting for The Spotlight, I'm Lauren Donovan.
The Astro Hotel wants more than just compensation. They want the owner of the vacant building to be required to follow Seattle Municipal Code, which would include removing graffiti and repairing the broken windows. It happens all too often. Stolen cars like that used as battering rams to bust into a marijuana dispensary. It happened to a shop in Capitol Hill back in February and did a whopping $300,000 in damage. But this is a story of resilience for a local business because after a closure lasting 3 months, Reef Cannabis has reopened.
It was a devastating blow.
7 devastating blows as a stolen SUV repeatedly backs into Reef Cannabis on Capitol Hill.
They hit the building, and on camera you could see the whole building move.
Like many pot shops, Reef has installed sturdy bollard posts on the sidewalk to deter these smash-and-grab thefts.
The only place that didn't have a bollard to block a car was a brick column that supports the front of the building. We thought nobody would try to drive into a brick column, but we were wrong. They did try.
They tried and failed to get inside, but the damage was so extensive, Director of Operations David Olivas says he feared the building would be condemned.
The whole front of the building was in danger of spilling all over the intersection of Olive and Denny.
The failed heist back in February was the 3rd time this location has been hit. Here's the same shop back in October with a Hyundai Sonata sticking out of it.
And the smash and grabs, it's a real problem all around Seattle. I mean, a lot of our fellow cannabis stores in the industry have been facing this, and it's a really big problem. And when I watch video footage, I'm pretty sure it's the same group of people doing it. They have similar tactics.
David hopes police will boost overnight patrols on pot shops and catch those who keep dealing these expensive blows. He's just grateful Reef weathered this one with its entire staff intact.
The owners were paying out of pocket to keep people on staff. We have 100% of our people returning. Everybody's been working so hard to get the store ready.
After 3 long months of repairs, Reef Cannabis is back open, serving the Capitol Hill community it's been part of since 2018.
We got on the window, your buds are back in town, so we're back here to take care of you.
Reef Cannabis emphasizes its role in the community. They donate 5% of all profits to good causes, and they let each customer direct that donation by choosing between 3 different nonprofits. Well, check this out. A Redmond police officer went above and beyond to reach below ground after dispatch got a frantic call from a man who had accidentally dropped his keys down a storm drain. The officer creatively fashioned a tool used to unlock vehicles, and after several attempts, he managed to hook the keys.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Woo. Okay. All right. Perfect. You all good? Thank you so much. Yeah, appreciate it. Oh, all right. See ya. Okay.
Later in the video, you can hear the officer joke, "That's why I go fishing." They don't just protect, they serve. And that does it for us tonight on The Spotlight. Until next time, I'm David Rose. Please stay safe.